Going back to Atlanta United, Dave.
I'm not saying that we're.
Do you know how to beat Atlanta United?
I do.
Curious.
Would you like me to tell you?
I totally would love to show the listeners how other MLS teams can beat Atlanta United. This is not
okay. You keep talking. I'm going to move over here.
What's happening right now?
Well, it's not a popular opinion, Carmen. And so as you shift us over to the tactical diagram, which Dave is going to walk us through.
What is happening?
His layout here on why we continue to be vulnerable on counterattacks and how it's avoidable. Dave is going to get some headphones here. Carmen, here's some headphones for you. And we're sharing. Look at that.
Sharing.
I don't know if I like Dave on my producer couch. What's happening?
You still get your own microphone and headphones.
All right.
So you're all right. You're all right.
It's all happening. So if you're listening to the podcast, we are juggling around. What just
happened?
So Dave can actually diagram on the YouTube here what we think the starting lineup will be for Atlanta United, all things being healthy, what we think Pineda will start, and why Pineda continues to kind of play his tactics that he does, and why that might set us up for continued failure. Dave?
I'm going to make two changes that I think Pineda is actually going to make. I switched some of the players. But anyway, so if you
this is to start the season, basically you're saying? This is what you think Pineda is going to have as kind of given people coming back from injuries. Is there anything
we have no idea about Abraham. You know, that could be Parata. But outside of that, I think this is probably the likely lineup on opening day.
So Guzan, Abram, Robinson, Lennon, Gutman.
It could be Parata, so we don't know.
Could be Parata.
We don't know about it.
Then you're saying our midfield is Josetu Sedic, Araujo and Etienne on the wings, Almada as attacking center mid, and Giakoumakis, Papa Giorgio up front.
Right.
All right. Go, Dave. Sorry to interrupt you. Setting the stage.
This is a, even more dramatic example of what I'm supposed to give you. Now, one of the things I'll say, so if you're listening to the podcast, this is a very visual thing. So I don't know what we expect our people just listening on the podcast to do. But anyway, we encourage you to go check out the YouTube channel because then you'll really be able to see it.
Yeah. It's at the end of the podcast. Everybody's falling asleep anyway.
How dare you?
All right. So what we're going to talk about a little bit is how you beat Atlanta United. All right. So the thing that Atlanta United's system is designed to do is to overload the flanks. I believe that Pineda referred to it as his airplanes. So his airplanes are Gutman and Lennon. Okay, so here's how it works. So right now the ball is been rolled out by Guzan to Robinson, and we're just starting a normal attack. Whoever we're playing against, in this case, I chose to make the team that we're playing against play a similar 4-3-3, right? Okay, so here's the problem. The moment we start to win the ball, what happens is Lennon and Gutman go flying as airplanes down the wing. So I'm going to show you. So Lennon goes all the way. He doesn't stop here. And we'll go back to that in a minute. He comes all the way up to here. And Gutman comes all the way up to here. And Etienne is usually scrunched up a little bit. And Giakoumakis is at their back guy. And so we often look somewhat like this in offense, right? So we've taken pictures of this last year in the game where we have literally only two players back, and you can literally draw a line of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Atlanta United players, and we'll say they're up a little bit here in the back, right along their back line. Okay, so here's the problem with it, right? So the problem with this lineup, what it's supposed to do is we're supposed to get a ball out here to Lennon, right? And what's supposed to happen in Lennon, by being wide, I think Pineda thinks is going to overload the side and create a 2v1 with Lennon and Araujo against their right back. Okay.
Right.
But here, the first problem is, as we've documented many times, when you play this ball out to Lennon, he's all the way so far up there that he ends up sort of coming back to the ball. So the moment he gets there, he's not actually turning and trying to go at the player. He has to turn, right? If you're playing against Atlanta United, what you say is, God bless. Thank you, Lennon, for going all the way forward. Thank you, Gutman, for going all the way forward. And you make your outside back responsible for them. Okay. So right now, number 4 on their team is responsible for
obvious
Lennon.
matchup. They know where to push up and put the pressure.
Yeah. So number 4 is responsible for them. You might say, oh, we kind of have a 2-on-1, but we don't really, right? I mean, mostly if the ball's over here, their backs are going to be pinched in a little bit. Right, like this. So there's not really a 2v1 because their center back is there. It's a little bit more like a 3v2, and you would say it's overloaded. Okay, so we have an advantage here.
Advantage, right?
We have an advantage here, but the problem is the moment you try to run against this, if Araujo takes off, where did he just go? Offside. He's offside, right? There is really no way you're starting here. There's nowhere to run to, right? And Lennon got the ball, and he's either going back towards his own goal, or maybe he's going to try to dribble at this guy. But Lennon's not really going to take on that guy and beat him. And even if he does, do you think that Lennon is going to go all the way by here himself?
Nope.
No. And so all these other teams are like, we love that.
Araujo, maybe.
Yeah, they're like, okay, give it to Lennon. We are worried about Araujo, but we're not worried about Lennon. So they're like, okay, we're going to stay here. We're going to give you this ball over to Lennon, and we're going to say, here's 2 problems. First of all, this doesn't worry us. We don't think that you're going to beat us, right? Because Araujo has no momentum to run by us. Lennon is here. And so what often happens is Lennon dribbles up here. This guy comes out and addresses him, and they end up sort of, in this kind of a mode. And Lennon doesn't have anywhere to go. And so he recycles possession, right? This happens a lot, right? We go here and we try, now we're up the field here. Let's move everybody a little bit because they're back. Move everybody up the field a little bit. Okay, we're over here, right? And maybe this here. Anyway, so we try to maybe recycle the ball. Maybe we play Sedic in here. And let's say we try to get cute in here and we try to feed Almada the ball.
Yeah. Try to give it to our talent.
Well, we've tried to, you
see it all the time, though.
We see this going back and forth, or sometimes we can't do that, and Lennon takes the ball, he dribbles the ball back. Anyway, there's no dynamic here because everybody's in a line. There's nowhere to run to, right? And so, yeah, you might have a man advantage. I think even here you kind of
point, the margin of offside is razor thin.
Is razor thin. And here, really, where is the only place that you have the extra man advantage? It's up on the opposite side of the field, right? So Gutman and Almada technically have a man advantage. Maybe it's even 3v1, but that's not so dangerous because you got to play the ball all the way over here. And if you do, by the time you do that, the defense just shifts, right? Usually you never play that ball. We try occasionally. Most of the time we play it back in here and then we play it over. But in any case, we're up here. This is not really dangerous. They're like, we love for Lennon to have the ball. And Lennon is all the way up here. So the moment that we go here, we try to force this, okay? Let's say we force this and their center back intercepts, okay? Now, here's the bigger problem. Not only have we not made ourselves effectively offensively, right? But here's the much bigger problem. So supposedly, Pineda wants to press. Okay, so the way you press is you say, all right, Giakoumakis and Almada going to press the ball. Sadic going to press the ball. He's like, work hard. He got pissed a couple of times because Thiago Almada wasn't pressing or Barco wasn't pressing, right? Not hard enough, right? Araujo wasn't pressing. So he's like, okay, you got to immediately when you lose the ball, press. But you can't press right now. And why can't you press right now? Because Josetu or Sadic, whoever it is, does number 1 have an option?
Does he have an option?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Number
has
2.
he has 2 options really, right? So he can play number 2 in this outlet, or maybe he steps up 1 and he plays number 9 here. One pass beats all of this. And we always say this in the counterattack, you see this first ball that goes out wide against us, and it typically gets in behind Lennon or Gutman. So let's say he plays over here. Okay. Now, you know who's responsible for marking him?
Lennon, but it's going to be Robinson.
Lennon can't mark him.
Yeah, he can't. So
Robinson, if he comes out here, what does he open up?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a
so
freaking breakaway.
You're
We've seen
asking
that
either
occasionally.
Rossetto or Sedic to come over.
We always ask the defensive midfielder, which is in this case Rossetto or Sadek, to come over here. So let's say Sadek does a heroic job and gets over here. Usually it takes time, right? So he's not going to track him down until at least here. But let's say he even gets back and does it, right? So first of all, this happens to us all the time. Did we win the ball in the offensive third? No, because he's got an easy outlet. He's out here. So we're winning the ball maybe here. They've created a counter. How many times we've seen this? They have 3v2 in the middle, right? They play this ball in the middle and it's a goal, right? We've seen it so many times. We've had possession for possession, and we've seen it. But even if that doesn't happen, right? Even in that case that it doesn't happen, let's say, and we've seen this occasion a lot too, because it happens, right? Let's say Sadic makes a glorious tackle, right? Usually it's Rossetto. So maybe we'll switch it, right? It was Rossetto make the running, make a better tackle, right? So Rossetto makes that. He covers it behind and makes a tackle. So let's say he wins the tackle, right? And he's here, okay, right? Here's the problem now. Right? Who is Rossetto supposed to be playing to?
Well, no matter where he plays, he's playing to somebody who's marked up.
You want your backs being able to play easy balls into the middle. So Rossetto's supposed to be playing a ball to Rossetto, right? Yeah. Rossetto's supposed to be in the middle, right? But Rossetto is not over here. He's been dragged over here. Sedic has had to scramble back in here, and you see this all the time. Right? These guys have had to scramble all the way here, right? They're all back here, right? You see this. Maybe Almada's gotten back or whatever. But this is awesome for if you are the other posting team, because now Rossetto is trying to outlet the ball. He's getting a guy pressuring him, right? And where does he have to go with the ball? Maybe Lennon's come up here. The back has come up with them, right? And they're looking at this.
Yeah, he's probably going to play it into Lennon or Araujo's feet.
So he tries to play someone's feet, and you see this all the time. So maybe Lennon's here. You see sometimes the ball here.
And that's where it gets boop.
Right? It gets stripped off him there. Araujo has to turn the guy. Or even if he doesn't, a lot of times what does Araujo...
You're putting Lennon and or Araujo in a very difficult
Araujo sometimes does brilliantly. We're giving everybody the benefit of the doubt. So Araujo, let's say he does brilliantly. He dribbles backwards 5 yards. He maintains possession, and he somehow finds Almada here like this or whatever. But this, and by the time he does that, you know, all of these guys recover, right?
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly
reset city,
we're facing this again, right? So what's supposed to happen, Mikey Dobbs? Here's the fix. So if you're playing against Atlanta United, all you do is say, we're going to leave Lennon and Gutman outside. Now, Gutman is good enough. You know, who scored the most goals for Atlanta United last year? Gutman, right? He was like 1 or 2, right? And that's because Gutman is actually, he's left alone all the time, and he's good enough sometimes to actually score, right? So Gutman sometimes, instead of running out here, he runs through here, and he occasionally makes it work as an overloaded player. Right. But Lennon doesn't do it. Lennon sometimes gets available, but then he just whips it across to nobody. Right. And he's supposedly, according to Pineda, be the real goal creator in all of MLS, like the second leading goal creator. But as we've shown, even though he creates chances, they never score off those chances.
He had 2 goals in 2022 and 6 assists.
Yeah.
Which for a right back is square average.
And those 6 assists are total BS, because when we talked about, we went through every single goal. And when he gets assists, they're not off the crosses. Yeah. The occasional moments.
He had one that was off a real cross. And then people said, hey, Dave, who is he crossing to? Who is going to finish it?
Right.
Joseph is not, I'm not going to cheerlead, but guy can finish a cross.
So I'm going to go back and I'm going to change this and I'm going to show you what should be happening, the fix. Okay. So that's how you play against Atlanta United, right? You just literally let those guys go and they run right up to the outside back. So there's no confusion. They're easy to mark. Right. And even if they do get free, they're not that dangerous because they're way out there and they're not our best players. What we want on the ball is Almada, Araujo. What we end up is the guys on the ball with a lot of possession are Lennon and Gutman. Right. And no offense to Lennon and Gutman. They're good players. On the ball, you want Araujo and Almada. Okay. So here's the thing. So here's the difference. Right. So let's go back. Let's move everybody back a little
up
bit.
The defenders on the other team a little bit. Get them in their home.
Let's put
spot.
Gutman back here. Let's put Lennon back here. Let's bring their 4-3.
So we're resetting for those on the podcast. Coming out of the back for Atlanta United with a 4 in the back, we've got Gutman, Abram, Robinson, and Lennon, hypothetically, as our back 4, with Sosa, Josetu in the middle, Etienne out on the left, Araujo on the right, Almada floating in the center mid with Giakoumakis Papagiorgio at the striker position.
So that's more or less where we started before, right? And I said that Guzan rolls the ball out to Robinson, right?
Yep.
So first of all, right? So if Lennon makes this, starts to go out here, but instead of going all the way up here where he's easy to mark, if he would stop here, okay? Now as Robinson comes out with the ball.
There's a nice little curler right around.
Right. He has an option. So this guy has 2 guys to mark. He's a 2v1 situation, right? And so often we're able to either play this ball here or sometimes even play it out into space where he can get his head up and is running with the ball.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Best case scenario. Ooh. On the front foot, Dave. When's the last time we've seen that?
And if he has this, the cross that you're always talking about, the early ball through the back, he might play that. Because the difference is in the opposite scenario, he's coming back to the ball like this, right? When he does that, there's no chance for the early cross. But if he's out here and we play a nice little ball in front of him, he's got his head up. In here, this is the
Dave, time out. Lennon is a fabulous player. He's a great attacking player. Why would he be playing back as a fullback right there or a right back?
Because he's still attacking Mikey Duck.
I know, Dave. I'm trying to explain this for people.
Because now it's a trick question.
It's a trick question because now he's getting it on the front foot, to your point.
Yeah.
He's not, yes, get up the field. Please get up the field, but get it with purpose going up.
Okay. So now if he's here with the ball, now their left back has problems because he has a choice to make, right? See, he's got Araujo, he's got Lennon, right? So if he comes out, which he's probably going to do to address Lennon because he's coming forward, right? Now look what you see.
Oh, please play it into space to Araujo.
Oh, look at that space for Araujo. Now you have the 2-on-1 that Pineda wants to create. Right. And that's fine.
And the 2-on-1 is not with Lennon. It's with Araujo.
Right. So now here's the thing. So out of the back, you have Robinson, Abram, and Gutman shift over.
Staying at home.
Okay. Now notice Gutman is not here where he's useless and never gets the ball. Right. He's back here. So now we have 3 in the back.
Always 3 in the back.
3 in the back. Right. So let's say Lennon, is here.
Something screws up.
So Lennon starts to dribble. He comes up here. They play.
Something doesn't work out.
Yeah, I'm going to say he's watching. He's going to give away the ball. Actually, let's just say he plays Araujo into the corner. And we give up the ball because this guy comes over and wins the ball, which is a little deeper. Okay. So these guys are all here. Let's move up Etienne. Let's move up. Giakoumakis is right playing off the front foot of this guy, right? So this is more, and let's move everybody back because everybody got up the field. So first of all, you'll notice Atlanta United was able to get much more up the field, right? That's a good thing.
Yeah. So now,
rather be
now there's a chance, even if they win it, and they send it back forward, we're going to recycle it.
Yeah. So here's the thing.
That's called the press, Dave.
So as soon as Araujo turns over the ball here, number 6 wins it from Araujo. Oh, Araujo, you shouldn't have given up the ball there, but okay. Should have beaten him and scored. But let's say he doesn't, right? So now I think it should be Sosa, but even if it's Rossetto and Sejdic, right? So one of the things you notice, okay, where does number 6 have to go with the ball?
He has to play into somebody who's marked with a lot of pressure on their back.
Yep. And even if, let's just say Sejdic went nuts.
I mean, they could try the long ball like way into the corner, which is got plenty of people to track that and pin it down.
Let's just say Sejdic made an amazing run here. Maybe even let's just blow our whole thing and say Etienne was forward. Everybody was looking for this cross, right?
Yeah.
It's awesome, right? We're all the way here, right? So now there's an open guy here, right? You see that? There's an open guy there, but okay, can number 6 play that open guy?
He could, but there's a chance he gets cut off by
I
Rossetto.
love this. If you try to play this ball here, right? He plays it here. There is a chance that Rossetto wins the ball here, okay? If he wins the ball here, right? Almada, let's say, has made this early run. Sejdic has reset a little bit because he's gotten back. The moment he wins it, one touch to Almada, and he is one-on-one with this guy going to goal.
Yeah.
That's recycling the ball, and that's what we want.
Yes, sir.
Right? But the thing about it is when they turn the ball over, it has to be marked up. And when Lennon and Gutman are up forward, not only is there no offense because they've just made a wall and there's nowhere to go, and they just crowded the spaces. He talks about opening up spaces for Araujo. They just crowd it. He talks about overloading the side. They don't really overload the side because nobody can run. There's no space to run into. And on top of all of that, right? Because it doesn't work. We don't score goals. But on top of all of that, you cannot press when your outside backs have gone up the field because by definition, they have an outlet pass open every time, right?
Yep.
So you're useless in the press. If you want to be a press team, you have to have 3 in the back who haven't gone forward and a defensive midfielder, Rossetto, or I would think this should be Sosa. So let's do this. Oh, right? Instead of Sosa having to go chase down a guy like we just saw earlier in the thing, Sosa is now up here. And now, as I say, Sosa can go hunting.
Yeah.
So Sosa is hunting right now because the ball turned over here, right? This guy has the ball, but he's trying to outlet it somewhere. Yeah. He's trying to go to 5-2. And even if they have 2v1, I love the possibility of Sosa going
take that risk. Take the risk on the hunt.
Exactly. So that's the problem with the system. The system is designed to overload and get great chances, but other teams just say to us, we love for you to have Gutman and Lennon on the ball. That's not dangerous to us. They're all the way out wide. There's no momentum in the whole play. They don't really score against us, right? And thank God you're not giving the ball to Almada or Araujo because those are the guys who can actually kill us. Right. And on top of it, we never, ever, ever recycle the ball here and get it to Almada or Giakoumakis or Araujo in one touch, one-on-one situations where they can win.